I'm here with Mark Runacres, who's the CBI's India advisor. Mark, we've had a new government in India under Mr. Singh. What do you think of the government, and do you think it's going to be good for business?
I think the government is certainly going to be good for business. It's very difficult to find anybody in India or indeed outside in the business community who are anything other than absolutely delighted. Why is that? That's because, one, it's a government which can stand on its own. The Congress won a highly unexpectedly large number of seats, which gives them a strong position. They have to work with coalition partners, but critically, unlike the last coalition, they have not had to bring the communists into the government. Therefore, we've got that absence of the strong left brake on economic reform and business-friendly policies. The second reason is, of course, as ever, that business likes stability. Business likes continuity, likes to know where it's headed, and this government offers not only some continuity from the last government, but also the prospect of a good, solid government staying in power for 4 or 5 years, whereas there had been anxieties that the government was going to be have a very small majority, was going to be in a shaky coalition, and would not really last the term. So in all those senses, I think this is a good result for business both in India and internationally. The government itself has got, as many governments when they're re-elected to power, has got elements of the old and elements of the new. We've got the same ministers doing some of the key portfolios, Home Affairs Ministry, the Defence Ministry, but we've got some interesting new appointments as well. And the ones I think that are of most interest probably to our members in the CBI are in the Ministry of Finance, where we have a veteran politician, Pranab Mukherjee, who's very close to the heart of power, and will make sure that the policies which his ministry pursues are really delivering on the Congress Party's manifesto. We've got a new Commerce and Industry Minister who was in London this week, Anand Sharma, and I think we're already seeing that he is no doubt under clear instruction from his Prime Minister, taking, at least at the macro level, a much more positive approach to international trade negotiations. And further down within the Cabinet, we've got some interesting new appointments, younger ministers, and in fact this was one of the strengths of the Congress Party going into this election, that they've got strength in depth. They've got a next generation of ministers coming up, and we've got some very good appointments in environment. Jairam Ramesh, who's a well-known, very bright, very fluent and very effective minister, was working on economic affairs before. We've got some even younger, early 30-year-old ministers, which in Indian terms is particularly young. It's a political scene which has thrived on gerontocracy for many decades. People coming in to some sensitive posts in corporate affairs, and these are all people, I think, who will be very well placed, to be honest, to lead India into the next generation of economic and social development.
And the budget has been announced for the 6th of July. Do you think this will be good news?
I think it will be. It will have some good news in it. I think the budget. What the budget will show us is that this coalition and the Congress Party in particular remains focused on its key mission, which is inclusive growth. They are very clear. They were clear throughout their last term, and now going into this election, they maintain their focus on the fact that their main constituency are the 600 million poor people living in the Indian countryside who need to be brought into the Indian growth miracle. So what we expect to see are measures that will extend schemes such as a rural employment guarantee scheme that was brought in under the last government to reach out to more of that rural population, schemes to help poor farmers to develop their subsistence base more effectively. But I think we can probably also aspire to at least some of the leftover business from the last government, which wasn't able to go through because of opposition from the left. Maybe in insurance, where there is an insurance bill pending, which will raise the level for foreign direct investment into insurance. possibly a signal on banking. I think that will be more difficult. There is a banking bill. In pensions, the whole question of pensions in India is greatly underdeveloped, and I think we should see some progress on that. And then there's one particular niche area which is of great interest to me, and I think the United Kingdom generally, which is I think we will see in this budget some quite strong concrete steps for developing an energy efficiency market, which is Indian speak for action on climate change. And this is really flagging a scheme whereby there will be within sectors the ability for companies to get monetary benefit from increasing their energy efficiency and have the capacity to sell that efficiency in certificate form to companies who are not performing so well. So quite an innovative trading scheme that we expect at least to see the foundations laid for in this budget. But above all, as I say, I think it will be a budget to reinforce the government's credentials as the promoter of the rural poor in India.
Now, British firms have interest in many sectors of India where reforms have been long awaited. Do you see any early signs of progress?
Yes, I think I mentioned insurance already, and I think that will be somewhere where, even if it takes another 6 months or so, we'll be able to see significant moves forward. There will still be more to be done from the British industrial financial services industry point of view, but it will be long awaited, and therefore I think quite a relief for people who've been sitting on their hands waiting for this moment to come. In other sectors of financial dealings, the banks need to move from a rather old-fashioned system they have, where there is a very severe limitation on voting rights for foreign investors, and that is something which would be changed in a banking bill which is on the table. This, I think, will probably be a bit more difficult and will take a bit longer. We've got following the financial crisis, which has dominated all our lives for the last 9 months or so, a natural caution in India. India has a very conservative and highly regulated financial services system, which has of course served them quite well in this time, and therefore I think any politician, any government would be cautious in moving too fast on to the next stage of liberalisation, particularly for banks. But it's there, it's on the table, it's being talked about, and I think we stand to see some significant changes over the next few years under this government. Other sectors, I think that we've still got terrific possibilities in terms of collaboration, both in the manufacturing sector, which has remained very robust and strong in India through this difficult time, and in the services sector. I think that there's still a lot more ground to be covered in terms of collaborations in R&D and technology and innovation. Real strengths in the UK, and once we start emerging, I think we will find the Indians ready and willing to do business with us. But as ever with India, it's going to require a lot of effort from British companies. It's going to require a lot of focus, and I think nobody can take it as read that the UK will be the first place they turn for any of these sectors. It will really be for us, both corporately as a CBI and for our individual members, to get out there and do the legwork and make sure that they understand the strength of the product and the strength of our manufacturing or services base that we have in the United Kingdom and what we have to offer as partners.
Okay, Mark, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.